Hey guys, with the drought and stuff that's going on in the country, and it seems like every year it gets worse and worse. Some part of the country deals with the drought in the summertime, and it affects a lot of people's gardens. You need to find ways to efficiently irrigate, and one of the things I've talked about quite a bit recently is using T-tape. You can hook it up to some elevated containers and just do a gravity fed to do the drip irrigation on your gardens. But once you get it on the garden, you need to be able to have something on top of it. If you just run water out there and expose it to the sun's just going to suck it all right back up. It's going to evaporate and be gone, so you'll lose a good percentage of it. Now, one of the easiest things to use is just this oat straw right here. Generally, when you get it, it's going to be nice and dry, easy to handle, lightweight, no work involved into it, just spread it around. You can see how well it holds the moisture up under there. The top was nice and dry, and up under it, that's what you want to have down by your plants. Once this gets wet, it'll help hold the moisture in there. Makes a big difference. Now these wood chips right here, these are pretty well aged, 3-4 years old. I think it's 2008-9, one of those years when a storm came through and blew a bunch of trees down, and the fella had a tree company come in and clean up and just chip all the stuff up, and he brought me a load of this. And you can see it's almost like soil down in there now, just broke up. That's some good stuff. Put that around your plants, really help hold the moisture in, help build up the soil too. All right, so these are the two things that I use. I've used the straw, works very well, and I've used the wood chips, that works great too. But there's one more thing that I think a lot of us could use if we actually stopped and put the time and effort into it. Grass clippings. Most of us have a yard. If you got a small yard, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. But if you cut a lot of grass, there's a way to be able to harvest those clippings and get them up pretty quick. Now, as far as grass clippings go, if I'm going to be able to use it as a mulch and put it on the gardens, I'm going to need a lot of it. It's not going to work putting a bagger on the lawnmower and just cutting my yard and collecting, a couple of bags of grass each week. By the time that stuff dries and compacts down, it's going to be, just a few handfuls each week. That's not going to cut it. But I've said before that I was a blessed person, very blessed to have what I have around here, to have the physical capabilities and the mental abilities to put everything together and make it work. And one of the missing pieces has been the grass clippings, deciding what to do with it. Now, I cut a lot of grass each week. I cut a lot of grass, and I've never really considered using the clippings. I didn't want the weeds involved in and stuff like that, but I have some places where I can cut that the weeds aren't very bad and got some really good grass. It was just a matter of figuring out a way to get the stuff up. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to talk about cutting the grass and getting those grass clippings up. Now each week I'll cut grass anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, depending on how much rain we had and just how thick everything is. The thicker it is, the slower I go. This is what I spend the most time on, simply because there's so many obstacles in a mobile home park. All the homes, the ditches, the decks and things like that. You can't get close enough to them with a tractor to be able to do anything. Once I finish all the tight spaces, when I get to the open areas, I switch over to the Jubilee and the finish mower behind it. That does a real good job, makes everything look nice and neat around here. Usually sometime in July or August, we'll get a couple of weeks of rain and the grass will try to get away from me. And then what I'll do is I'll switch over to the 861 and the bush hog and get everything caught back up. This thing will knock down the grass and get it back to a level where I can come back with the finish mower and get it looking like folks again. All right, so after I go and cut all my grass, I've got to find some way to get the stuff up. So we just, since I don't have a bagger on the mower and it would take too much time to get on and off and dump that thing and stuff like that, we'll just go and rake it up, right? Go out there and I can see me out there going across them fields trying to rake grass up in little piles like this. Can't y'all see me doing something like that? Y'all know I got more sense than that, right? We're gonna try something else. Hey, y'all like my little ride right there now? Ain't that cute? I went to Tractor Supply and bought one of them Ohio Steel lawn sweepers. Got a 22 cubic foot hopper back there. Ought to hold a lot of grass in that thing. I've used it some already, and she'll sweep up some grass in a hurry. Whole lot faster than me out there raking looking silly. But I have one problem with this setup right here, and that's the fact that that mower with almost 900 hours on it, being a hydrostatic transmission, that thing really doesn't need to be pulling around any extra weight in the back. Certainly not that much grass and that sweeper. I've used it some, and I can tell I really need to find a better way to pull that sweeper around. So I think I'm gonna put it behind the tractor and do it that way. I might look a little ridiculous going across the field, but I'm gonna get the job done. All right, for anybody who didn't know what the MHP stands for, it stands for Mobile Home Park. That's what I do, own or operate, maintain everything around here. I do it. This is the front section and some of the grass that I cut. I cut all this stuff yesterday. And if I wanted to, that's a whole lot of grass clippings to collect right there. Wasn't too bad, so I really don't have a lot to pick up. All right, down here where I'm getting ready to sweep at, I just dropped the sweeper off. And this big field down here, I cut it yesterday. Didn't quite get all the way to the pond because the rain got me. Ended up going to the house like a drowned rat. Couldn't get out of the rain fast enough. But what I've done is kind of cut the grass in like a windrows, and then I'm gonna just come back down here and sweep all this stuff up. That way I don't have to go over the whole property again trying to sweep it up. I'll just have it in rows just like a farmer would raking up his hay. Then after I get all that stuff done, come on down here. Need to get down here and weed eat around this ditch line going into the pond. And then all this stuff right here, I cut it last week with the intentions of coming back and sweeping it up. I actually cut it Friday. Today is Tuesday. We had the heavy rain last night, and this stuff has grown up so fast, I think I'm gonna have to come back and cut it again before I can come back and do any sweeping. That sweeper is not gonna do much good in tall grass. I'm gonna have to cut it and knock it down first, and then come back and sweep it up. That worked out pretty good. Run up with the tractor and that sweeper real quick, about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. Got this great big pile of clippings right here. That's a lot of fertilizer in there. I'm gonna take it, see if I can get it loaded up on the truck right here, see if I can get it all in there at one time. Keep them having to make a second trip. Alright, now I got it on there. Packed it in there like Tony Stewart's gas man. Nice and tight. Now y'all know emptying this truck is always easier than filling it up. What I done, I put me a bed liner in here. This thing right here, old trampoline cover, to help me dump everything out real quick. That's what you call using your head for something other than the place to put a funky looking hat. I got all of this cut late yesterday. Started cooling off real nice yesterday evening. Didn't look like we're going to have much of a dew. And I just kept on mowing until about dark. Now we got a cloud coming. I need to get this stuff swept up. See how neat and clean that is? And there's all the grass in the back of the truck. That little sweeper working out pretty good. Right here is where I'm going to start out using the grass clippings. I got a couple dozen hot pepper plants down here. This little spot is really dry, just does not hold the water. Kind of on a slope right here. So what I'm doing is putting the T-tape down and putting the grass clippings on top of that to help hold that moisture in. You can see how dry this ground is right here. Got a nice crust on it. So that breaks up in pieces on the top. Once this stuff gets wet on top and the sun shines on it, makes it real hard. So what I'm gonna do is take this little cobra head deal right here, the fella down in Florida sent me, and loosen this soil up, and then we're gonna put some grass clippings around it. Grass clippings are pretty easy to use, easy to work with. They're a lot looser than, say, you know, trying to loosen up some tightly packed straw or something like that. And before you put the clippings down, if you wanted to fertilize your plants, do any side dressing, something like that, that would be a good time. Go ahead and put your little bit of fertilizer down there if you wanted to. And this is what it looks like about a week later, 7, 8 days, something like that. We've had a couple of really good rains on this stuff. I had watered it with the drip line, and these plants are looking absolutely wonderful right now. Just as perfect and green, exactly what I'd like to see. Alright guys, that's going to conclude my grass cutting, hay baling, hay raking, dragging a little dolly behind the tractor episode right here. I think this grass clipping is going to work out pretty good. All these years I've been cutting grass and never really thought about saving the clippings, and having that little sweeper behind the tractor makes it so easy to just go right down there and get it up by the truckload. Like everything in garden, basically you use what you have access to. If you can get straw, hey, it works out fine. If you can get some old wood chips, I'd put them on there too. I'm working on some other manures right now, some goat manure, and I talked to the fella from the horse farm this morning. He said he was still going to try to get me a couple loads over here, and mixing in these grass clippings, I can mix up a really nice super compost and have that to put on my gardens. I might can grow a vegetable or two around here. We'll see what happens. Y'all take care, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time.